Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing my Dewey's 24-hour readathon wrap up. The readathon went really well for me. I'm like significantly surprised by how much I was able to read. I think I planned out my TBR almost perfectly, and so I'm going to just talk to you guys about what I read over the course of the readathon. If you followed me on Snapchat, you've already seen all the books that I've read or attempted to read during the readathon, but I will just be giving my thoughts on them in this video. So for me, the readathon started at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, and on Friday night I got home later than I was expecting to. I got home at like 1 a.m., which is so abnormal for me, but it happens sometimes. So I didn't end up waking up before 7 a.m. I actually woke up at like 7:30 or 7:45. So I decided that I was just going to make 8 o'clock my start time, gave myself some time to like wake up, brush my teeth, make coffee, do all of those things. And the first thing that I ended up picking up was Batgirl Volume 2. I love this series so much. Like, I think that after Ms. Marvel, Batgirl is actually my favorite superhero comic series that is currently happening. I think that Cameron Stewart and Brendan Fletcher and Babs Tarr are just creating such great characters in this series, and I'm always just a fan of like the Batman Gotham world, and so this is just such a fun series to be following along with. It connects in with the Batman world a little bit more in this volume, which I liked. But yeah, I just really like what they're doing with Batgirl in this series, so I will definitely be continuing on with this when the third volume comes out. So after I finished Batgirl, I decided to pick up one of my books. I decided to go with Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. This is the Lunar Chronicles short story collection. I read through all of the stories. They were all pretty quick, even though this book like looks pretty big. It's young adult, so the font is bigger, it's easier to read. One thing that I will say about this collection is that I liked it, but I didn't love it. Most of the stories that are in here are prequels. There's one story in here that takes place after the Lunar Chronicles series has wrapped up, and that was definitely my favorite story in the series because you got to see all the characters together again, which was really nice. There's also a story in here about an android that I don't think is featured at all in the Lunar Chronicles world. Like, it takes place in that world, but it isn't a character that we've seen before. And so while I liked it, that wasn't really what I wanted out of the short story collection. I wanted to know more about the characters that we already knew. And also the short story about Winter felt a little bit repetitive because I feel like if you read Fairest, you basically had more than enough information about Winter and Levana back at that time. But I feel like the last short story, which was my favorite in the series, made this entire collection worth it. It gave me a lot of feelings. So if you are someone who likes the Lunar Chronicles world and you haven't picked this up yet, I would recommend it. I don't know if it's worth buying, but you definitely at least need to read the last short story in here. It's so great. And then after I finished that book up, I decided to go with another comic book, and I picked up Gotham Academy Volume 2. I'm not sure I love this so much because this book is a lot more like supernaturally. There's things with like ghosts and all of these weird creatures and things like that, and that isn't necessarily my favorite like genre of comics. I like the ones that are slightly more straightforward. I mean, obviously like when you're dealing with superhero comics there's going to be some supernatural elements, but I don't like it to be overly supernatural. And then the final book that I ended up reading for the night was Signs Preceding the End of the World by Yuri Herrera. This book is freaking-tastic. If you are someone who likes Cormac McCarthy, then you definitely have to pick up this book because the style of writing here reminded me so much of Cormac McCarthy. The writing is very sparse, and Yuri Herrera writes this story in a way where he leaves out a lot of details and sort of lets you fill in the gaps with your own imagination and what you think. In this story, you are following this woman who is living in Mexico and has decided to go and cross the border into the United States illegally in order to find her brother who had crossed into the United States, I think a few years beforehand, in search of like this land that supposedly they were supposed to inherit or something along those lines. And so you are following this woman as she is going through this extremely dangerous situation and also just has no idea what to expect or what's ahead of her or what she's going to find in the United States. There's so much about this book that I really enjoyed. I'm going to do a full review on this one because there's so much to talk about, but I cannot recommend this book highly enough. It's less than 200 pages. I mean, I think it barely breaks the 100-page mark, but it was so fantastic. Oh my gosh, I kind of want to reread this book because there's so much happening and you're kind of on the edge of your seat the whole time as you're waiting to see what's going to happen. So those are basically all the books that I finished. I tried to pick up Kill the Boy Band by Goldie Moldavsky, but it was like 10 o'clock at night or something like that when I finally decided to pick up this book, and I could not concentrate at that point anymore. I was way too exhausted and my brain was just like, nope, not having it. I don't know if I'm going to read this book. This book is supposed to be like a dark comedy type of situation where this group of fangirls kidnap this boy band, or kidnap at least one member of a boy band from the chapter that I had read. I feel like the vibe of this book is supposed to be more like Mean Girls or Election or something along those lines, where it's supposed to be like kind of satirical, kind of poking fun at things. I don't know if that's necessarily a style that I like in my books. Usually books that are supposed to be satirical or supposed to be funny, I usually never end up actually finding very funny, so I don't know if I'm going to actually read this book or not. So yeah, that was my Dewey's 24-hour readathon. I, again, really enjoyed doing that. I'm really glad I got to participate this time around. Now I understand why everyone likes Dewey so much, is because it's only 24 hours long, and so if you have like the day free, or you're able to sort of make your day free for reading, it's a lot of fun to just sort of cram all of that into a 24-hour period. Obviously, I went to bed at like 11, so I didn't stay up for the full 24 hours, but even just getting in that like 10 hours or so of reading that I normally would never do in a day was really, really fun. So if you have participated in the readathon as well, feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know how you did with it, what your favorite read was during that period. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.